a stack of index cards, and a Sharpie. When you're on stage, calculating the final wager for real, this is all you're going to have. So let's learn how to use them. In the previous installment, I showed you how to calculate using pen and paper with only 2 players. And now we're going to look at how to do it with 3. And as you might expect, it's a little more complex.
Here we've got Doug in first with 15,400, Rich in second with 13,200, and Tom in third with 8,400. So I've written the scores out onto 4 cards. At the left, turned horizontally, we have the 3 scores. We're going to use this as our master sheet. And on the 3 other cards, we have the 3 2-player games. We'll perform our calculations there, and move our maximum and minimum wagers over to the master card. We start with first and second, Doug and Rich. If Rich wagers everything, he'll have 26,400. We'll subtract Doug's total from this, and you'll see I left some space at the top here. 26,400 minus 15,400 is 11,000. That's Doug's minimum wager. And we'll move that over to the master card. For rule number 2, if Doug gets that wrong, he'll have 4,400. So Rich will want to stay above that. We do 13,200 minus 4,400. And we get, carry the 1, 8,800. So that's Rich's maximum wager. Now we're going to save rule number 3 to the end. We'll come back to it after we're all done. Now we look at second and third, Rich and Tom. Rule number 1, if Tom doubles up, he'll have 16,800. To cover this, Rich will want to wager 3,600. So that's Rich's minimum wager. We move that over to the master sheet. Now for rule number 2, if Rich gets it wrong with that wager, he'll have no more than 9,600. So notice that Tom doesn't have 9,600 yet, so he'll have to get it right and wager at least 1,200. So that's his minimum wager, and we move that over to the master card. Now for rule number 3. The difference between these 2 scores is 4,800. So Rich will want to restrict his maximum wager to that, so that Tom has to get it right to beat him. Now we look at first and third, and we know that Doug has to wager 11,000 to lock out Rich. So we'll use that as his minimum wager. As we saw earlier, he'll have no more than 4,400. So to stay above that, Tom will need to wager no more than 4,000. So that's his maximum wager, and we move that over to the card. So now we return to first and second, because we didn't do rule number 3. You notice the difference between these 2 players' scores is 2,200, but Rich already has to wager at least 3,600. But what if Doug decides to get sly, and wager so that he doesn't fall below Rich? Well, he could wager 2,200, and if he's right, the difference will be 4,400, so Rich should increase his minimum wager to that. So now we've got all 3 of our wagers on a single card. And here they are in an easier to read format.
Now this is just what I would do. Feel free to develop your own style. But no matter what, you want to practice as much as you can. When you're on stage, the nerves are going to be out of control, and you want to rely on your muscle memory. We'll see you soon on the Final Wager. Take care.